Great Datakuji.
What country you from? What ain't no country I ever heard of?
Good.
She probably still got an old school TV.
Why do you say this to me?
I'm the only girl, so I wanted to do anything that my brothers were doing.
Oh, yeah, you blend. She's cute too, huh?
Indeed!
That's fine. Just give us a second.
She with you?
The film is just lazy. Like I said, they like vision.
But you got to have vision.
I'm a big JRPG person.
We've just lost half the audience.
Supposed to be full. Oh, why?
But he'd have to be fast.
I'm your man. No, you're not. You're too slow.
It ain't just about being fast.
I did not see one Asian in that movie.
Let's not stand on ceremony here.
It's a business. Who cares about the people's feelings?
Aim for the bushes. I could do this all day.
I got big boy pants on!
What's going on out there in Junkie Land? It's Culture Junkies Live. It's Wednesday, episode 9. We're going to be talking about the state of fighting games and the lack thereof. But real quick, let's do a real quick Junkie roll call. First of all, is that Josh I see over there? What's up, Josh? All right, and also following in, we got Sev, we got GQ, we got Big Kahuna, and we got Miaoyin, and Daidakuji will be joining us eventually. So let's go ahead and get to the nitty gritty of everything and what's going on today. First of all, before we get to the big deal, first of all, let's talk about that Injustice trailer, man. I mean, that Injustice trailer came out. Everybody knew this was coming. I could have swore we had an episode of Culture Junkies Live or Live from Junkie Nation back in the day before Batman vs Superman came out, talking about this very thing, and here it is. We need to start playing the lottery numbers. What do you guys think? It's mildly prophetic. Yeah. So what do you think of the news, though?
Well, I mean, it's very, very cool. I hope that nobody decides to dress up as a Joker and shoot up the theater, but it is a possibility.
Mm-hmm. Kahuna, what'd you think?
I thought it was cool. I mean, it looked good.
Mm-hmm.
I can't wait to see it.
Miaoyin?
Has me excited because I like the last one, so I'm definitely going to get this one. And maybe I'll be better at this one.
You weren't so good at the last one, huh?
I love playing fighting games, but I'm just not good at them.
Okay, fair enough. Not everybody can be gifted in that area. Sev, you're gonna get it, aren't you?
Nope.
No. Why not? Why not?
You already know why, so let's just move on.
No, why? You have to explain to the viewers why aren't you going to get this game?
Well,
Come
let's
on.
see. NetherRealm picked the PC version of Mortal Kombat X because we didn't get the extra large edition because they pimped it out to a secondhand studio and they didn't do a really good job with the port, so they just decided to abandon it altogether. So the new characters, which was like Predator and not Predator, yeah, it was Predator, Alien, and the Freddy Krueger, not Freddy Krueger, but the Texas Chainsaw guy and whatnot. Consoles got that. We was SLL out of that one, but not. They've already announced that.
You drew that on your head, didn't you?
No, I didn't draw it on my head. I don't know who's doing this.
I know who's doing it. A little
prankster. I know who's doing it. I know who's doing it. I know where you live. But they have already announced that they don't have plans to put out on the PC, and this is typical NetherRealm. This is why they are on my crap list of studios that I won't buy games from because, again, they want to treat the PC platform as a third world country. We are not a third world country, so I'm sure it'll be a fun game and all that. But since you can't seem to put in the manpower to, put it on all platforms or not, then a big middle finger to your studio.
Well, the Drake Daidakuji has bounced in. How you doing? Give us your thoughts on the Injustice 2 trailer, my friend.
It was CG. I don't care. I want to see some gameplay. I want to know what's more is going on.
Well, you're just a
That's
bundle of
basically
fun.
it. I mean, you can get. We mean no fun.
Yeah, I said
Come
you're a
on
bundle
now.
of fun. Come on. You can't be
When you
excited about
see
who's going to
a
be in
game
it.
being introduced, you want to see the actual gameplay. You know,
I
I don't.
agree.
First off, I'm tired of seeing CG in a world where real time is supposed to look like CG. So if they're gonna put the effort into the CG, the movie, just make it real time. Show us what you got.
Okay. All right.
I agree with him.
Fair
100%.
enough. Fair enough. So, what about you, Josh L? What did you think of it?
Oh, I thought it was pretty awesome. Sorry about my bad internet connection there for
What was that? What was that about your bad internet connection?
yeah, exactly.
What was that about your bad internet connection there, my friend? What was that?
Yeah, it just dropped out randomly. Go figure. But
Oh.
anyway, I agree with Dio. Actually, I think that I mean, it's essentially a sizzle reel, you know, for any type of trailer, especially game trailers. So they're trying to get people excited, but for the most part, yeah, if Fallout 4 or if Uncharted 4 is supposed to look nearly CG graphic quality, then show us the in-game play. Really impress us by showing us how much it's improved over the previous system. But I do get that it's also a sizzle reel. So I mean it's pretty interesting. I do want to know why Superman and Wonder Woman need armor, but other than that, I thought it was pretty cool.
Okay. All right. Well, the other topic I guess we can get to real quick before we get into the meat of the show. The meat. I love saying that, like Black Beetle. Meat. Anyway.
I bet you do.
Yeah. Anyway, the announcement that Batman: The Killing Joke is going to be shown in the theaters for one night only. That, for me, is a Culture Junkies event. We're going to be there. Who's excited to go and see it in the movie theater? Big Kahuna?
Ooh, I am.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought this is what you were talking about first. Well, Injustice is whatever. I mean, I'll get it when it comes out. But no, this is what I was talking about. I hope that nobody in Colorado decides to dress up like the Joker and shoot up the theater. Because this would be a pretty prime opportunity to do so.
It would, especially given yeah. And they won't be aiming for the head. They'll be aiming for the spinal column, which would be fairly poetic. What about you, Sev? Are you gonna go see it in the movie theater?
If they actually release it in the theater down here in Naples, God's Waiting Room, yes, I will go see it in the theater. But that's highly unlikely being in the area that I live in and whatnot. It's to me flooded by old folks and whatnot, and there, it probably won't happen. I mean, I'll keep an eye out, and if it is, I'll go. But the probability of that happening is slim to none. So
you know what that sounds like to me, man.
What does that sound like, sir?
Sounds like you need to come on home, my friend. Josh L, what's the over under that this replaces Batman: Mask of the Phantasm as the best movie version of the Batman?
Oh, geez. Batman: Mask of the Phantasm. Yeah, that was probably, well, it's definitely the best, maybe the best animated feature of Batman.
No, best ever. Anyway.
Oh, you think it's best of all time? No,
yeah.
I don't know. You didn't think that Adam West's Batman the movie was the best ever?
What?
You should just leave the show now, man. You should just go.
No, you're probably right. It's really funny because you're probably right. But no, it's one of the most beloved Batman comics of all time. It's definitely one of the most controversial, and they're gonna make it. Doesn't it have a hard R?
He's stuck in the Matrix and has a little doodle on his head. I love it. That was great. Well done. Well done. Good job. Good job with the telestrator there. Yeah, it wasn't him. It wasn't him. I'm gonna let you keep guessing on who it was because I know exactly who it was. Anyway, Miao-Yin, what about you? You gonna go see this in the theater?
I really would like to. It just depends on where if they show it here in Las Vegas and what theater it is, because I don't go to every theater here. So, hopefully it's in the theater that I go to. And yes, if they do have it, then I'll definitely be there.
I don't believe you just did that. You just upped your stalker like tracking by putting the location out there.
I know, right?
But
Gonna have stalkers coming to find you now.
Right, exactly. And you narrowed it down. They were trying before. They was trying to figure out where you were at. Now you gave them an actual city.
Like, gotcha.
Right, to centralize. But no, I mean, I'm definitely going to go see this. What? It's the truth. I'm definitely going to go see this because, again, like you guys have alluded to, this is the first time that we've had an animated Batman in movie theaters in well over 20 years. So this is a must-see. This is a must-go-to. Anybody out there, make sure you go because this is one of those Fathom events, as they call them. Fathom send a check. And this is going to be definitely awesome. I mean, come on. It's Mark Hamill and Kevin Conroy doing Batman and the Joker on screen. I hope they have it at the Epic Theater at the MJR because it'd be enormously huge and loud and awesome. MJR send a check, and you guys are local, so you can,
That's definitely culture junkie movie event material.
Most definitely, most definitely. Dido, final word before we move on to the main meat. Hey, fix that mic. Fix that mic. Fix that mic.
What are you talking about?
What am I talking about? You look like you're garbled heavily.
I look like I'm garbled?
Nope, a lot garbled, like you got marbles in your mouth. Okay, we'll come back to you maybe later. So let's move to the meat of the day, and the meat of the day is going to be talking about what the hell is up with these fighting games nowadays. Street Fighter V is still not complete. I don't know if it ever will be complete. Even with the story mode comes around, I really don't care anymore. As Sev alluded to, the whole thing with Mortal Kombat 10 being, for the most part, underwhelming. I think that's the best we can put it. Is that it was underwhelming. But GQ, you kind of wanted to push this topic, so let's hear you speak about it a little bit. What's going on in with these fighting games today? What's the problem?
Well, once upon a time when I was a wee lad and I was little GQ, actually I was never little, I was always just fairly tall. I was just a little bit lighter in the muscle mass department. There was a video game that I found at my local 7-Eleven called Street Fighter 2. And that game was awesome. That was an amazing game that pitted you versus whoever was playing against you. Discovered Blanca that day, and my friend was playing E Honda, and we were going back and forth, and then eventually I switched over to Ryu. And the legend goes on and goes on and goes on. That game finally came out for the Super Nintendo. It was the greatest experience ever. It was just great. Fun game. You could play against your friends. You had endings that you could get to and do stuff, and it was all right there on that cartridge that cost about $80 at the time in 1990s money. But anyway, long story short, because the story's getting long, that was a complete game. You bought it. True enough, they came out with Champion Edition eventually later, but you bought that game. You had fun with it. You enjoyed it. You had friends over. You beat the hell out of them. They beat the hell out of you. The game was great. Mortal Kombat followed that. Showed up on the Genesis. Had the Blood Code, Abacab, as you all know. All sorts of great and fun and good. And that was a complete game. Fast forward to 2014-ish, maybe 2013. You had a little game that came out called Killer Instinct. I used to love that game in the arcade. It was awesome and fun. And that game was released as essentially a boxed beta. It had one character and an arcade mode, supposedly. And that was all you got, unless you bought the season pass that gave you access to other characters as they were released. So in other words, you didn't have a complete game. And Street Fighter is following that same stupid business model. And it's pissing me off because I remember the days when you had a fighting game where you could bring your friends over and enjoy it and have fun and play it. And it was great. And those days apparently are gone. So my fighting games are not what they used to be.
Indeed they are. So Miaoyin, what are some of your fondest memories of fighting games? And is this just no turning back? Is there no hope anymore for fighting games with the way they are right now? Is it just they're DLC to death? I mean, I know you said you liked Injustice 2, but
yeah. Well, like I liked Injustice. That was what got me back on fighting games because for a long time I was like off of it.
Why?
I didn't like they changed up the mechanics so much that I was just like I sucked to begin with, and now you're just gonna confuse me. Okay, no. And then the story, like, cause I'm a story person. I like to be told a story. I like to see a story. So it was no story mode. It would just be like it wasn't complete in my opinion. It was just kind of like you do this and you're kind of done. And Tekken used to be a game that I used to play all the time that I enjoyed, but I think it was Tekken 5 that really just turned me off completely. And then from that, I just fell off because I even used to play the Mortal Kombat games, and I didn't even bother. So Injustice came out, and I had a friend who was talking about it all the time, and I was like, all right, I'll give it a try. And then it was like on sale. It was practically free. So I was like, all right, I'll get it, and I really enjoyed it. So that put me back onto fighting games, and then the Mortal Kombat 10. I was like, all right, maybe they're coming back, and that's where I stopped. I haven't played Street Fighter 5. I keep going back and forth if I'm gonna get it or if I'm not gonna get it because with all the complaints I hear about it, I'm like, it's not worth it in my opinion. But I don't know, maybe not. But I just hope that they don't need to do all these DLCs and you start off with this one character. I don't like any of that. Like, I bought a $60 game. You better give me $60 worth of fucking product. So, that's my opinion.
Okay. And Dido, comment? Is your mic fixed? Nope, guess it's not. Josh L, you got a comment?
Yeah, so I've loved fighting games since the first.
Man, this dude can't even get a word out.
Am I stuck in the Matrix again?
Again, you were. Well, go ahead.
It happens. That's my horrible internet connection yet again, failing me miserably. No, so I was saying that I've loved fighting games since the first Mortal Kombat, since the first Tekken, since it was Soul Blade, not Soul Calibur. I mean, I've played fighting games on pretty much every console that I've ever owned. I've loved them in the arcade. And I really got away from them in recent years, not necessarily because the products have been bad completely, but definitely what you were talking about with Killer Instinct. Yeah, it's like basically a box beta. I wasn't super excited for that one to come out because I hadn't played the original, but everyone was talking about it like it was going to be the next killer fighting game. No pun intended. And yeah, then everyone, when it was released, is basically saying, hey, you've given us a piece of a game, and we're expected to download all this DLC. I mean, I really think it's a commentary on the gaming industry as a whole. It's a part of the disease that kind of started with free-to-play, pay-to-win games, like Clash of Clans or any one of the myriad of downloadable phone games that you get for free or for 99 cents, and $160 later, you might actually have a decent.
What was that? What was that? Did you get to finish? What was that?
I know. I apologize. No, what I was saying was the fact that you should have, at the most, you should have a limited number of characters that you can play right off the bat. As you play through arcade mode or you play through a campaign, you unlock other characters. It's been this way classically since the earliest Mortal Kombat games. Everyone's used to them being that way, and it gives you a challenge, and then you open up characters. What's this? I need to buy content that you should be giving me right off the bat. And Meow's right. Give me the game that I paid for. Give me my $60 worth of game. And if you're not going to do that, I'm not going to buy your game. I haven't picked up Tekken 7. I haven't picked up Killer Instinct. I downloaded it for free when Xbox gave it away, but I didn't buy Street Fighter V because I just heard it's been a quagmire of crap. And I have no intention of starting now.
Right. Don't buy
This thing
crap.
working yet?
It's finally working, Dido. So give us your thoughts.
Hello, everybody.
I don't think you needed to do all that, but thank you.
Yeah, you do. You got to get excited in this bitch, man.
Yeah.
Come on now.
Okay. Whatever you say. Give us your comment on the fighting games and why in the hell they're pretty much fleecing us, bending us over no lube.
Look, I'm gonna tell you. Listen, fighting games have always been fleecing you. Remember the arcade? You remember those things? Anybody?
Quarters.
Anybody? Quarters. Yeah, they were quarter munchers. Unless you're really good. But you came, you spent, you played, and they fleeced you then. They were making lots of money from there. When it came to the consoles, back in the 16-bit, 32-bit, early 64-bit, and there's no such thing as a 120-bit era. Get over it. It's always been 64 after that. Processors only been 64. Anyway, you bought the game, and you got a lot of content, and all was good. But these companies, they're not thinking about you. They're not thinking about putting out the greatest thing that they can. Not anymore. I mean, they used to, Capcom, Konami, Sega, Nintendo, they all used to put out top-notch products. But now they realized, and it's always really been like this because businesses are about making money, is how much money can I get from these people? So, the freemium aspect of games, I don't mind them on cell phones. In fact, I think they should be on cell phones only, tablets only. When it comes to consoles, yeah, I've been accustomed to playing a game that's a complete game and, going about my business because I love fighting games. I've always loved fighting games. It's just something that I guess you could do in real life, but I can't throw fireballs and do dragon punches and all that stuff in real life. And to me, that's the best part about, playing a fighting game, as well as the camaraderie that you get with your friends, which you can still do. That stuff is still there. But, what is missing is a good quality game. The last one, in my honest opinion, was Mortal Kombat 9. Mortal Kombat 9 was a complete awesome game. And I think it had some downloadable characters, but it wasn't like downloadable this, download that, blah, 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 blah. They had a great story mode. They had great additions to stuff. It was superb. And the fleecing is just because these companies know that they can make more money off of it. They're following a model that has apparently proven to work for other aspects of other genres of games. So, they're going to apply to this. And as well, fighting games just aren't as popular as they used to be because of those arcades. Arcades don't exist anymore. And that's back when they used to test their hardware, put out the most powerful stuff, Sega and Namco going back and forth for who had the most powerful chipset and all this other stuff. They don't exist anymore. So why they're not going to put the effort in because they're not going to make the money back. So they got to try to fleece you. I don't agree with it, but that's why I can always go back and play the old games that I bought. I don't have to freaking buy the new ones.
Kahuna, you fell out of love with fighting, or you stopped playing fighting games altogether a long time ago. So this really, doesn't affect you as much as it affects the rest of us. Because like me, when we were talking about this discussion with fighting games, GQ kind of brought up to me, say, "Hey, when was the last time you played Street Fighter?" I said, "It's been a month." And I said to myself, I haven't played online against anybody in like 3 months because just the desire, the drive, just it's so much of an incomplete experience. I just don't feel really the urge to play it right away like I used to. So, speak on what do you think could change that could bring you back to fighting games? What would they have to do in order to make you really even interested again?
I've always been interested in it, but it's kind of like when I stopped playing video games, it wasn't just fighting games; it was just games altogether. Just like everybody else, Street Fighter. Fighting games and driving games was my thing. That's all I ever liked to play. I never was into really like role-playing games, stuff like that. Fighting and driving games was always my thing. And like everybody else, Street Fighter 2, Tekken, Mortal Kombat, Killer Instinct, I was really good at all of those. I guess you could say I'm fortunate to not experience what everybody's going through right now because it is kind of disappointing to hear. Um, I do plan on getting the new PlayStation when it comes out,
Mm-hmm.
and hopefully it comes out in, what is this, around September? So that's my birthday. So that's like the perfect birthday gift. I'm still planning on getting, like I said, fighting games because that was my thing, and I would like to get back into it. But it is very discouraging and disappointing on hearing all this stuff, all this DLCs, and getting incomplete games because. Like I said, when I kind of fell out of it, that's when we were still getting complete games. So I'm not used to all this DLCs and all this other stuff. So I don't know. We'll see. Whatever the hottest fighting game is out, at the one that when the Neo comes out, we'll see.
Okay. Well, let's talk a little bit about Street Fighter V and just its ongoing struggles. GQ's been playing it, lately. Hand of Omega says no love for Virtual Fighter. What Virtual Fighter, man? We haven't had a new Virtual Fighter in like 4 years. So it's not that there's no love for it. They just don't put it out. I love Virtual Fighter. I love it more than almost any other fighting game that's out there right now. But
Yeah, I used to love Virtual Fighter.
And remember what I said. Sega used to. The Virtua Fighter was their I guess you could say their flagship for their processor. Processor for their arcade system. Whenever a new arcade system was made, Virtua Fighter was on there. And
AM2 board.
Yeah, they had the Model 2, the Model 3, whatever one Virtua Fighter 4 was running on. I don't remember which that one was called. Had some weird name. All that stuff was what they were showing, showcasing stuff. They don't showcase that stuff anymore. Nowadays, arcade, if they're going to do anything in arcade, they're just pulling stuff off the shelf for a PC and just making it for, the arcade. And it's the death of the arcades that are really, and this is my philosophy, the death of the arcades is what's really killing it.
But that's the death of the arcades over here, because even still, Tekken 7 is still testing heavily in arcades in Japan.
And that's 100% true, but they're not doing a new arcade board for it. They're just, like I said, using PC parts to build that arcade. Because when I last went to Japan, now I've never been to Japan in the heyday, and when I went to Japan and we went to one of the arcades, they had like 2 floors of just fighting games, and they were not heavily packed at all. Like, I went up there, Virtua Fighter is supposed to be top dog in Japan, from my understanding. There was nobody playing Virtua Fighter at all. There's a few people playing Street Fighter 4, and I saw somebody playing Fist of the North Star fighting game that came out for PlayStation 2 many years ago, and I saw somebody just whooping ass in Blaze Blue. But that's how it is. It might be dead over here, but it's dying over there too.
Again, I'm not saying that it's not dying. It definitely is. The arcades are no longer what they used to be, unfortunately. But just the sheer fact that even with Street Fighter V, they didn't even include an arcade mode. Now, true enough, there was never an arcade release for Street Fighter V, but that was a staple in every single fighting game, regardless of whether it was an arcade game or not. They usually put in an arcade or at least a versus CPU mode that led to an ending and a story or whatever. So for them to just basically abandon that and just release us a game that, well, you know what, this is basically a tournament game. That's all it really is. We're not really trying to sell you a product. We're trying to sell you a tournament trainer so you can go to EVO. And it's just like, the majority of people that really want to play this game aren't really concerned about going to EVO. They want to play Street Fighter because they like Street Fighter. So, I don't know. It's really hard to see what Capcom is, where they're going with this, because to me, it's like I've been playing Street Fighter since the beginning. Even I used to play the original back when it only had one button for attacking, and that was pretty much it. So for them to sell a Street Fighter game to me that just basically has some characters and a prologue, not even a story mode, a prologue, and to say that, oh yeah, the story mode is coming later, and we're gonna release these characters, and oh yeah, the intro only plays once, and if you want to watch the intro again, you got to go to YouTube. It's like, to me, that's just lazy, and that's just really bad product making on their part for them to have a Street Fighter game and even have that use that name and release a game in such an unfinished form. It's just, to me, it's just bad business.
It is bad business, but if you think about it, that's Capcom now. Seriously, Capcom, all the greats from the 80s and the 90s, granted, people want to see new games. That's good and dandy. You want to see new games, but you also give people the games that made them like video games. And Konami, Capcom, Nintendo still does it, I guess, because that's all they got is their own properties. But they're still just not. They're not, hitting it like they used to, and they don't care about that old stuff. And Street Fighter was a big time money making machine, both in the arcade and on the home systems, man. I mean, like, everybody I know who had a Super Nintendo when Street Fighter 2 came out got Street Fighter 2. I heard that in Europe they packed that in with the Super Nintendo. So it's a money maker. So you think that people who make the money back then would say, let's cater to our fans. Yes, we're a business about making money, but without them, there is no us. But they're not thinking like that. I mean, why do you think Inafune left Capcom? Because there's something going on in those businesses. Konami, Capcom, there's something going on with them where they're losing it. And it's like something's going to happen where they're going to end up going out of business. We're not going to see those franchises anymore unless some company comes along and buys them and does them, or just makes clone games. Where's My Fighter's Destiny? Come on, Data East.
Right. But hold on, real quick. Not to
give me Data Fighter Destiny 3.
Yeah.
Go ahead, GQ.
Too much, but going back even to the Inafune thing. Inafune left to supposedly make Mighty Number 9, and I guess from what I've heard, the most recent trailer has got more dislikes, almost the same way how Ghostbusters had a ton of dislikes and barely any likes. This newest trailer for Mighty Number 9 got a ton of dislikes because people were saying, we put up $4 million of Kickstarter for this.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it seems like the state of gaming and the gaming industry in and of itself is starting to get to the point where it's like, you guys are going cookie cutter because of the fact that these games are getting more and more expensive to produce, and you guys are, less willing to take risks. And, obviously the free-to-play and the cell phone market has basically kind of turned it upside down. And it's kind of a scary thing because, yes, these systems are going to be made regardless. That's not going anywhere. But a lot of what we, I guess, grew up with and loved is starting to kind of fade away. And a lot of that quality that we, grew up, expecting is essentially starting to fade away as well.
Mm-hmm. So, guys, go ahead.
That kind of sucks because, I mean, it's not just like hearing the way you guys are talking about the games. It's just like music, man. Like, music now is just trash. And it's like you just want to just stay in your archives. It's like on my phone, man, everything is just straight 90s hip hop.
Right.
Like, it's crap now, and so it's like now it makes me want to just play retro games.
Yeah.
Well, no. Seb has been uncharacteristically quiet about this whole thing over there.
Being called out. Go get him, Seth.
Well, I mean, I'm pretty much in agreement with most everybody's saying. It makes you think about the article I read back when the Killer Instinct had launched their whole season pass DLC crap. Is that they asked them why they were taking this route. I think when it came out, it only came out with like 2 or 3 characters, and they said, well, we talked to the fighting game community, and they usually just take one character and they train with it all day, every day, and they stick with that one character, and that's why we decided to go with this model. And I was like, when I read that, I was like, yeah, this is going down because you get that one character by testing the other characters that come out in the game. Okay, that's how you figure out who you like and who you don't like and whatnot. So if I get 3 characters and whatnot, it's like, the thing is though, people bought it. I mean, Waffles bought it day one. That's because he's a bit of an idiot. But he went out and bought it day one and whatnot. And it's like Dado said, they can make money off of it. So stuff like color modes and even some games actually have the soundtrack within the game. You can go listen to the game music or not. Like they make you pay for all that stuff now when you used to be able to earn it. And it's like everything that you used to be able to earn and like go through like trials, it's just like gone, man. And Capcom, this Street Fighter V to me it's really a poor excuse for a fighting game. I mean, I have played it and it's okay, but it's still lacking something, and I can't quite figure out what it is. But it doesn't have that it factor like some of Capcom's
earlier
past
ones.
fighting games have.
Yeah.
It just doesn't happen. And my prediction is that we won't actually have a complete version of Street Fighter V until like August of 2018. And that's not even me reaching, because if you think about all the irritations of Street Fighter 4 that came out and whatnot, it was maybe like what 2 years down the road before they finally
Ultra,
had, you know, Super Ultra Street Fighter 4 and whatnot. I was like, okay, so this is supposed to be the definitive edition. So it's just like, I mean, it's like, and I've always had a like, I played them and thought it was good until I met you bastards, and then you showed me that I didn't have anything. So you guys actually made me play better and whatnot. So I mean, I have so many fun memories of fighting games, like, you know, like Mark of the Wolves, and you know.
Mark of the Wolves.
Third Strike.
Third Strike, yes.
Ken and Virtua Fighter. All of them.
He's dreaming on that one. He's dreaming on that one. Yeah.
So I mean, it's a lot of fun, but it's just companies have just gotten lazy, and you know, they give you a barely, not all of them, because Arc System Works, the guys that do like the Guilty Gear and like the Blast Blue games and whatnot, they release a full game. They don't have no deals to care. Like, you get everything in the game. Like, you get all these weird, bizarre colors there for them. So like, they're still doing it right and whatnot. So everybody else is just, I don't know what's going on here, man. It's a really, really sad state of, you know, the way that the gaming industry is going. It's not even like with fighting games, but that's the main topic. So I'll just stick to that. But it's you know. And Capcom even said, like, hey, you know, we wanted the game out in time for Capcom Cup, Pro Tour, and Evo and whatnot. It's like, well, if that's the only people that you're catering to, then maybe you just should have seen some personal copies of it, maybe, instead of, you know, charging for this crap. I don't know. That's my 2 cents. Crapcom.
Seems more like a dime cents. Any case,
that sucks, man. I feel like I gotta find like a new genre of gaming once I do get that PlayStation, because
card games.
Fighting was my only game I really enjoyed playing.
Yeah, and honestly, it's nowhere near the same the way it used to be. So yeah,
it's all about those FPSs.
No, don't go there. don't go there.
FPS is the new fighting, like how fighting games were in the 90s, man. You had a fighting game, everything. Do you not remember the one that came out on 3DO? Way of the Warrior?
Way of the Warrior.
Oh, Jesus.
Time Killers, Way of the Warrior.
Yeah,
you had
Time Killers.
Time Killers.
Remember my story. FPS is what killed my will to live.
See?
FPS are those now, man.
Yeah, man, please.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. After Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat blew up and basically became the it games, every company was trying to come up with the next big fighting game. And obviously Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, and Tekken stood the test of time, Virtua Fighter as well. But it's like everybody was trying to come up with something. And even companies that had hits were trying to come up with even more fighting games on top of those fighting games. Remember War Gods? Remember...
Oh, no, not War Gods! With Kabuki Joe!
It's the truth. There was a ton of fighting games back then. Like,
yeah, there was.
100% right.
Yeah. Oh, look, Dido whipped out World Heroes. Yeah.
You got the World Heroes.
Yeah, World Heroes, Art of Fighting, the Last Blade 2, which is actually getting ready to, the remaster is getting ready to come out on PSN. I can't wait to pick that up. That was actually a good game. That was a damn good game.
Bushido Blade was awesome.
Yeah, Bushido. Oh man, there's a game that should come back. Bushido Blade. Yeah, that should come back.
I mean, it's like every time you turned around, there was a new fighting game either being in development or had just dropped, and they were everywhere. So now first-person shooters, Call of Duty came out and changed that whole thing. Because before, first-person shooters were Doom and what was it? Unreal
Quake.
Tournament.
Quake.
Unreal. Rise of the Triad was a popular one.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, but other than that, it was just those couple. And all of a sudden, fighting games went away, and then in 2000, boom, first-person shooters were shooting up, and they were like, that's all you would see. So.
Jump in. You got any comments here?
Things are going, fighting games are not taking back over.
Got a comment?
She came back and she's not saying anything.
She gave you the hold on finger.
Right. I know, right? She's like, oh man, that's not good. I mean, she's silent for real, man. I mean, really, she must be mad. She's like, how dare y'all not talk to me after all this time? She still ain't
So
unmuted the mic. Anyway, so go ahead.
I'll say this. I think that not just people who are developing fighting games, but just the entire genre as a whole. I think that a lot of them can take a page out of CD Projekt Red's playbook. The guys who developed Witcher 3. I mean, we're talking about a massive, amazing game. Thing won tons of Game of the Year awards, medals and whatnot. I mean, people are saying it's one of the best RPG games that's ever been made. I would agree with them. It's an incredible thing. But the physical game that you bought came with an in-game map. It came with stickers. It came with the full soundtrack of the game, the full score of the game. It was just a really well-made package. The game itself was impressive, and they released 16 essentially DLCs for free. There were small incremental things, but like that's a developer.
What, Josh?
That's a developer that's going to make me want to buy their next game. Someone who's actually going to say, "Hey, we know that $60 is a lot of money, and we know that you have a lot of options. So here's what we're going to give you for buying our game. We're going to give you a lot of content, and we're going to give you a bunch of extra free content as we do release it." And the few expansions that they've released, everyone said that they're amazing, and they were relatively inexpensive as far as expansions go. I think it was like $30 a lot.
Just to piggyback off what Josh said, because I have played the game and whatnot, and everything he said is true. And even the DLC that they do charge you for, I mean, it's not just like a 15, 20-minute romp and then you're done. It's actually some hours involved in it and whatnot. And the stories are, like, even like the side quest stories are like really, really good. Like, if you're not careful, man, you'll get, it's not, I've lost my 10 chickens. Bring my 10 chickens back, and I'll give you a small bag of gold. It's like some family struggling side quest and whatnot that usually can put you in some tough choices. Like, okay, do I do A or do I do B? So it's like that is, I respect the crap out of that developer. They are the bee's knees.
Yeah, I think that anyone who's developing fighting games needs to take a page out.
What? What was that? What was that? What was that?
Do it Mortal Kombat 9 did. Give us an enormous roster that maybe has a large content of the characters that have been in all the previous games. Even if it's 15 or 20, and then let us unlock the next 15 or 20 in game, and then maybe give us 10 extra new characters as DLC. Or then you bring in those cross-platform players. Like all of the Nintendo games that have characters from Capcom games or from Konami games and things like that. That's how you do DLC for some of these games. But Dido's right; they are in the business of making money. I get that, but a project, CD Projekt Red, they're going to make someone like me who doesn't buy nearly as many games as they used to. They're going to make me buy the next game for certain. And someone like the developer for Killer Instinct, nope, sorry, you're not getting my money. It's just that simple. I think that more and more consumers are going to say, sorry, nope, if you can't give me what I'm paying for right off the bat, I'm not buying.
And well, to now jump in.
No, please. I've been wanting you to jump in. Go ahead.
Well, I had some technical difficulties, but that's how I felt with Injustice, with the first Injustice, because, well, while I was jaded from how, the fighting games were going, when I finally got this one, not only did I get the whole CD, like the soundtrack, I got the whole soundtrack with the game. So I have it on my computer, but I play the game on my Xbox. Like, they gave me all of that with the game. And then I really like the story. And when I go online and get my ass kicked, I have fun, even though I lose a lot, but I can play whatever characters and their characters from, the comics. And so Injustice did that for me. So for me, Injustice was the one that kind of redeemed the fighting games. But the other games I really haven't crossed over to because I haven't been hearing that reception for the newer ones. So if they still do that, because I play RPGs, I'm very much into customization. So if the games don't have those certain elements, or even if I can't, make my own character or whatever, at least it has an interesting enough character that makes me want to continue to play. That's what I need to want to go buy a game. So that is why I do the shooter games and the sandbox games, because it keeps my attention. I need something that keeps my attention. I'm like a squirrel.
Like a squirrel. Squirrel! Yeah, okay. So are we absolutely sure that fighting games are dead? Now, here's something that I think is going to instill a lot of juice or a lot of heat into the genre. And it's getting ready to drop pretty soon, and it's going to be shown at E3 this year, this coming week. Tekken 7. Now, Tekken 7 is going to have Akuma in it. Now, as soon as I saw that Akuma trailer, and that he was being woven into the story that Heihachi's it was his wife, I think.
His wife is basically calling in a favor and calling in a debt.
Yep.
And Akuma is supposed to come in and kill Heihachi and Kazuya.
Yeah, I saw that trailer. I was like, I'm sold. I'm buying that game immediately. Not just off of the story, because the story was dope enough to say to sway me. But the gameplay and seeing Akuma throw out his fireballs and stuff like that in a traditionally non-fireball Tekken environment, oh man, and it was just seamless. It was like everything you wanted Street Fighter Cross Tekken to be, but it's done right this time. So, what's your comments? What do we think? Tekken 7.
I actually watched a Tekken 7 tournament a few weekends ago at Combo Breaker, and the game looked great. It was fast paced and whatnot. The way they implemented Akuma in there was actually pretty well, because he still plays like a Street Fighter character, but they somehow found a way to fit his dynamics into Tekken and whatnot, and it works. Mm-hmm. So Tekken 7 looks great, and it had all the characters in there. Nobody locked away or anything. Like the full roster was there and whatnot. It's still not complete, because I think they still have 4 more characters to add on to. But the roster I saw, it was around like 22 characters.
And that's more than enough for me right now.
Yeah, so I mean,
well, that's good news.
Yeah.
So I mean, if you were already into Tekken and whatnot, and they reworked some of the game mechanics, I think it's using Unreal Engine 4 too. So it already Tekken never had a graphic issue, but it looks great. It plays. I mean, I wish I could have played it, but from what I could see, from what I could tell, nobody was complaining about the gameplay or anything. It just positive things to say and whatnot. Unlike Capcom's game, Street Fighter 5. So
yeah, that game. Any other comments on Tekken 7, Josh? Or you're a big Tekken guy, and when you heard that Akuma was going to be in there, what did you think?
Well, I obviously love Street Fighter as well, and I love Tekken. So I thought it was a little bit interesting. I mean, I like you said, it's going to be like what Capcom Cross Tekken was kind of supposed to be, and hopefully they nail it. I'm more of if you're going to play Street Fighter, play Street Fighter. If you're going to play Tekken, play Tekken. I don't know how I feel about playing a classical Tekken character and then all of a sudden getting fireballs tossed at me, but
every single time.
Franchise. It's gonna pump some fresh blood in the franchise. I mean,
definitely.
The Akuma reveal trailer just looks incredible.
Oh, it was fire.
I think it's the first one with the it's the first one using the Unreal Engine, which means it will look pretty great.
When is that supposed to drop?
I think later this year, right, GQ?
Yeah, I don't remember the date.
Yeah, they're gonna, like you said, they're gonna talk about it at E3. They'll probably nail down an actual date, because that one's been, we've been hearing about that game for almost a year now.
Right.
And Namco, like I said, Namco usually does not disappoint. They were one of the first, and Dido can actually back me up on